Hello there, I'm the Biblical Translator, and today's scripture is taken from Mark 10:35. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came over and spoke to him. Teacher, they asked, we want you to do us a favour. What is your request? He asked. They replied, when you sit on the glorious throne, we want to sit in places of honour next to you, one on your right and the other on your left. But Jesus said to them, you don't know what you're asking. Are you able to drink from the bitter cup of suffering I am about to drink? Are you able to be baptized with the baptism of suffering I must be baptized with? Oh, yes, they replied, we are able. Then Jesus told them, you will indeed drink from the bitter cup and be baptized with my baptism of suffering. But I have no right to say who will sit on the right or my left. God has prepared those places for the ones he has chosen. When the other 10 disciples heard what James and John had asked, they were indignant. So Jesus called them together and said, you know that the rulers in this world lord it over their people, and officials flaunt their authority over those under them. But among you it will be different. Whosoever wants to be a leader among you must be a servant, and whoever wants to be the first among you must be a slave of everyone else. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve others, and to give his life as a ransom for many. And what does this say to me, this scripture? Well, first of all, he's asking them if they are willing to drink from the cup of suffering that he is about to drink. And also he says, are you able to be baptized with the baptism of suffering I must be baptized with? And what he's talking about there is his preparation to be crucified. He's asking them, okay, are you willing to be baptized on my behalf? If the soldiers came to you and said, look, which one of you are willing to be baptized instead of Christ? How many of them do you think would have offered to be crucified? If they ran a mile when it came to actually acknowledging him, because Jesus said to them, one of you is going to deny me before the clock crows 3. And they did. So what makes them feel so confident that they would be prepared to drink from his cup of suffering? I doubt very much if they didn't even want to be they didn't want to be acknowledged as knowing him, that they would have been crucified on his behalf. And that's what he's saying, you want the glory of sitting on each side of me when I go to heaven. But you don't want to put in the legwork. And he's saying, yes, indeed, you will suffer. You will drink from you will drink from that cup of suffering. In other words, you won't have a good time, but I cannot guarantee you a place beside me. That is God. Only God can do that. And then, of course, the other 10 disciples, they were indignant because they realized that James and John had gone behind their back trying to garner favour with Christ by asking him if they could go on each side. It's like when you're in the workplace and people go behind your back and try to garner favour with employers or other colleagues. They make out like, I'm going to be your best friend. If you do this for me, I'm going to do this. Or can you do that for me? I'll do anything you want. But this is what I want. It's almost like they were bargaining. He was bargaining with Jesus, more or less saying, I'm prepared to drink from your cup of suffering. Just let me sit on the right hand of you. And I mean, to be honest, there's so many people out there who want the glory, but they don't want to do the legwork. They want the prize, but they don't want to work for it. They look for shortcuts. They don't want to They don't want, you get people who they want to be bosses or chairman, but they don't want to study. They don't want to research. They don't want to do the work it takes to get them to that position. There are reasons why employers recruit people with degrees. It's not because of the academics, it's because they've taken the due diligence and had the patience to do the course. A lot of people, they do not have that persistence, they do not have that diligence, they don't have the consistency and the wherewithal to see things through. Slightest little bit of criticism, the slightest little bit of judgment, the slightest instruction, they're off. And what Jesus is saying here is that if you want to be a leader, you have to first serve. You get people, they don't want to take instructions. They don't want to take criticism. They don't want to be judged. They're on a high horse. You can't tell me anything, and they're off. Slightest little thing. And Jesus is saying, you have to be willing to serve. You have to be willing to be last. How many of you, when somebody asks you to do something, it's like the worst thing in the world. It's like, who the hell do you think you are to tell me what to do? That's the attitude people have. They do not want to be told what to do. They see it as an affront. They don't see it as a willingness to serve, regardless of the attitude. They don't see that. But yet, they want to be in a position to give orders. And it doesn't work like that. That is what Jesus is saying in this scripture. It doesn't work like that. You need to serve in order to be a ruler. What else did I have to say? I think, I think that is the most important thing. Yeah, just be upfront with your colleagues, your family and your friends. Don't try to do things behind people's back. It's very easy, especially in the workplace, in a competitive society, to try to go behind people's back and try to garner favour from people who have power. And what Jesus is saying here is that you don't do that, because what he's saying is that you're going to the wrong guy. I'm the intermediate. I'm not the top guy. And when you're thinking about, when you think you're going to the person at the top isn't who you think that person is. It isn't the one with the power. God is the one with the highest power. So no point trying to finagle your way through the back door to try and get something for free or for nothing, or without putting the effort in, because you're going to land at the bottom in the end if you're not willing to do the legwork. People seem to think that they can get away with it, and they might do for a short time, but it won't last. So this is Mark 10, 35. This is, like I say, it's always my interpretation. It's not the word, because who am I? I mean, years and years, we've got years of different interpretations of the Bible, and all we can do is take from it what we can that can benefit us in today's time, so that it's relevant. The Bible needs to be relevant, and we need to be able to relate to it. So I'm hoping that through this channel, that is what I'm helping you to do, just to relate to the Bible, improve your behaviour, your reactions to people. And yeah, that's basically it. And so I'm going to stop it here. Have a blessed week. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.